One thing that really sets guitar apart from other instruments is its ability to make it scream. One of the most powerful ways to make this happen is to use a technique called pinch harmonics. This is a super fun technique that can really accent and emphasize any given note and add a whole new dimension to your playing. Ever wonder how rock and metal guitarists get that squealing sound out of their guitars? Pinch harmonics. Alright guys, before we go any further, I want to give you a warning, okay? This technique is going to require a lot of consistent practice on your end, okay? And I know that can be a huge challenge for a lot of us. But fret not. I have just the thing for you. It's a free, scientifically driven guide that will help you develop a consistent practice routine and stay motivated. That guide is your secret weapon to getting results quicker than you ever thought possible. Because when we're not consistent, it just drags out the whole skill acquisition process, and we do not want that. We want this stuff immediately. As soon as possible, at least. All you gotta do is click the link in the description below, or you can head on over to zakkcharguitar.com and you can download it there. Alright, so step one, we need to set our foundation for success with getting these pinch harmonic squealing sounds. And to do that, we need to make sure we have the proper tone settings. Because pinch harmonics in rock and metal are a combination of the right tone settings and skill. So we're going to set ourselves up by starting with the right tone settings. So what you're going to need is some distortion, okay? Any type of distortion. You can use a distortion pedal. You can use some high gain distortion from your amplifier. Or you don't even need to get any physical equipment. You could just get an amp sim or an amp simulator. And you can get the right tone by downloading any that have any distortion. While it is possible, technically, to get some pinch harmonics out of a clean setting or even an unplugged electric guitar or an acoustic guitar, it's not going to scream unless you have the distortion. So if you've got a guitar like mine that only has 2 pickups, you can use your pickup selector to select either one independently. Don't worry about it if you only got 1 pickup on your guitar. I can guarantee if you do, it's going to be the bridge pickup. But if you've got 2 pickups, I would lean more towards using the bridge pickup anyway. That is the one over here. You can totally get a pinch harmonic to come out of using the neck pickup as well, but when just starting out, I found most success with using the bridge pickup on whatever guitar I was using. I would highly caution against using both pickups, okay? So if your guitar's like mine, you've got 2 pickups, you put the pickup selector to the middle, so both of them are active. It's harder to get that screaming sound. And you can still hear it, but not nearly as cool. Plus, it's pretty rare to find people using both pickups when playing anything in rock and metal music. So if you're familiar with natural harmonics, the concept is pretty similar because you have to apply a specific amount of pressure to the outward surface of the guitar strings. These mechanics cause the note to ring out in a much higher pitch. So while the bulk of this technique lies in the right hand, let's set up with the left hand next, okay? So what I would do for starters, you might find that some strings and some frets are easier than others. So even though I'm going to suggest that you start with the 5th or the 7th fret of the G string, I encourage you to experiment and find that if you get a pinch harmonic to pop at a certain point, keep practicing that over and over again, because it's better to have more successful practice at one specific spot at first than trying to generalize it when you can't even walk before you can run yet, if that makes sense. So like I said, for starters, try either the 5th or the 7th fret of the G string, okay? And when you do this, keep in mind it's easier to get a pinch harmonic to pop and sustain when you're bending a note or adding vibrato to a note, okay? At some point, I plan to cover that topic in more depth if you want more instruction with it, or if you want to just learn it and you're new to it. But really, if you can't bend yet, I wouldn't worry about pinch harmonics yet. So one thing I've heard that helps people with pinch harmonics is to put at least one finger behind the note they're trying to produce a pinch harmonic with. In this case, I'll put 2 fingers behind the note just for extra credit. So now that you've got your left hand situated at the 5th or the 7th fret of the G string, we're going to pay some attention to the right hand because that's really where the magic happens with pinch harmonics, okay? So like I was saying, it's like natural harmonics where you apply a specific amount of pressure to the outer surface of the string, but instead of doing that with your left hand, you're going to be making the magic with the thumb of your right hand. And when you're starting out, you're going to do these with down picks, okay? And what you're going to do is once you pick a note, you're going to immediately use the flesh of the inner side of your thumb to graze the string that you just plucked, okay? That is the secret sauce to this entire technique. So I'm going to do it slow. And you might want to start slow with this too, okay? Where you pluck first. And then use a very light amount of pressure to dig into that string, okay? One thing to keep in mind when you're doing this is the position of your right hand, okay? You want to be picking that note somewhere in between the 2 pickups, okay? I mean, if your guitar has a middle pickup, you might want to do it near that pickup. It might be a little closer to the neck pickup, though, in this position. Finding this sweet spot really requires you to get to know your guitar on a deep and personal level, okay? It will take a lot of experimentation and time to figure this out. And after I got to know this guitar really well, I found that this sweet spot in this position tends to be a little closer to the neck pickup. And as you progress with this, one thing you should keep in mind is that the position of your right hand will shift slightly depending on what note you're playing on a given string, okay? Because as your left hand moves closer to your right hand may also move closer to your right, okay? So they'll go kind of in sync with each other. Throwback to my boy band craze in the late 90s. I'm not sure if you could tell just there, but my right hand was accommodating my left hand ever so slightly as I was trying to get a harmonic on each of those ascending notes. So like I said before, experiment with different strings in different positions when you're trying to learn and execute a proper pinch harmonic, okay? And you'll notice when you do that is that you get different tones depending on whatever string you're using. Like if you're playing a really heavy chugging riff on the lower strings up towards, you know, this region of the fretboard, you'll get this sound. This is my personal favorite sound with pinch harmonics because it provides a nice contrast between the lower chugging sound of that range of the guitar and the higher range squeal you get there. It's just there's something more pleasing to me. And you know, that's subjective. You might find different areas are better for you. And naturally, the sound of the pinch harmonics gets brighter as you play them on the higher, thinner strings. Zakk Wylde is a guitarist who is really well known for using those pinch harmonics on the lower strings. He gets a nice wide vibrato out of it too, and it just sounds so cool. Slipknot is another band who uses pinch harmonics using the lower range strings, Their song Dead Memories is a really nice example that showcases them. And the song Unholy Confessions by Avenged Sevenfold is another classic example of pinch harmonics being used. I actually have a video where I break that song down and analyze it from a music theory lens, and I highly recommend you check that out if you're interested in learning more about theory and how songs are written. So with pinch harmonics, remember to make sure that your tone, your technique, and your positioning are in check. This technique can be very difficult for most people at first, and it almost always takes a lot of time to master. This skill, like most, requires a lot of discipline and consistent practice. To help you reach this goal or any other guitar-related goal faster and more efficiently, I would love to give you my free motivational guide just for watching this. It gives you just what you need to set a goal like this one and stay consistent enough to achieve this goal in the quickest, most efficient way you can. I cannot speak highly enough about this. Click the link in the description below, or you can head on over to zackcharguitar.com and get your free, scientifically driven motivational practice guide. Just remember, if all of the coolest things were easy to do, everybody would be doing them. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next one.